Hello and welcome to Real Time Recorded. We last spoke to you about 2 weeks ago. We took a week off for Thanksgiving. Zeus, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I spent it down in Mexico, so that
Well,
was
Mexico is known for their Thanksgivings. That's a
yeah,
perfectly customary pilgrimage to do. Yeah.
yeah. Well, we had I think we had some tacos and stuffing, so that was quite interesting. Washed it down with a couple margaritas.
All right. Well, this has been a pretty busy week, week 48. I don't know what's happening here. Things are accelerating towards the end of the year. But we're going to limit ourselves to two stories this episode because we got two big ones. Let's go ahead and start off with reInvent since we just came back from reInvent. Zias and I were both there. I think we were both there officially to mostly look at Amazon Connect and its progress, but there's just so much going on and so many interesting things going on at reInvent. And it's a real live conference. How'd you feel about being at a conference, Zias?
Yeah, I heard they sold out too. They limited attendance to only 25,000, which is way down from where it was. But I know people that tried to get tickets, in the last weeks leading up to it, and they were all gone. So it's good to see it sold out. And there was
one of these Vegas conferences too. It's like hotel after hotel and shuttles and fairly big event, fairly big analyst event. They had a lot of analysts there. I think around 50 or so.
Yeah, well, I got my steps in. That's for sure.
Yeah, you did good on that. I was very much more selective. I'm only going to the Venetian for a few different things here. But anyway, one of my takeaways from the event, I'm sure you've got some too, Zias, but one of my takeaways, particularly from an Amazon Connect perspective, which is the contact center offer, is how all these, I'm going to call them islands within Amazon AWS are not really islands. I always think of Connect as the one contact center piece, and then there's, let's say, Chime and the SDK piece over there around communications, kind of separate things. And I was actually really impressed with the way Connect and in-user computing, another island, was coming together. And Connect, and I know you were talking to some of the network folks and applications, but it's really becoming a very powerful, comprehensive story.
Connect is fascinating to me because when I talk to the salespeople from competitive companies, they always say they don't see Amazon in their accounts. And I tell them, you better keep your eyes open because they're coming in through the developer channel. And it's a little bit like, you remember when Salesforce usurped SAP? SAP, I remember back then, said we weren't really seeing Salesforce in our account, but Salesforce coming in through the sales channel. Right, and it's a similar model where Amazon's end arounding them, and they've got some. If you talk to some of the really big customers, I talked to Brian, the guy from Traeger Grills. I've talked to Hilton Hotels. I've talked to Capital One. They love AWS Connect. The consumption based pricing model, I think, changes the economics of this. I think as you mentioned, as they start putting the AI piece together and their ability to scale up, down, and the things that do with Chime. I think, years from now, a couple of years from now, we'll be looking at AWS as one of the, the big leaders in contact center, and they've done it very quietly, and I do suspect we'll hear more about them over the next couple of years, though.
Yeah, well, you mentioned a couple of things in there I want to touch on, but one of them is the AI piece that you just mentioned on, and Amazon or AWS, or both of them really, are fairly well known for their AI technologies, and they've got a lot of AI technology. And you think about what's happening in the contact center conversation, press release after press release industry-wide is about various forms of AI, whether it be agent assist or chatbots or sentiment analysis or things, whatever. It's all about this AI. And so, sure enough, some of the bigger announcements at reInvent along the contact center were the chatbot designer powered by Lex. They say they can turn building a chatbot from weeks into hours. They're using the AI to sort through customer profiles. So I don't know about you, Zias, but my contacts has I got like 6 contacts for one person, and they're saying, well, you can go through the customer profiles and figure out which ones are typos and which ones are duplicates, and that's using AI technology as well. So just an incredible amount of AI going into the Connect story, and then you also mentioned Traeger. I want to touch on because I got a chance to meet with the Traeger folks. And, that's not a big company. You think about these big companies, and not a big company. They just had their IPO not too long. It's a great company.
Yeah.
I had a lot actually when I got introduced to them. I had a lot more to talk to them about barbecue before we got to the contact centers. But anyway, we were talking about how they do it, and they're doing it through a BPO, and they have agents around the world, and they're using the Chrome boxes as agent desktops for agents at home. And I've been writing a lot about that, but I hadn't really connected that to the Amazon story. And sure enough, when I went to the end user computing session at reInvent, and they had some great announcements there. They have the Workspaces, which is a VDI solution, and they have AppStream 2.0, which is actually a mind-boggling. Hey, here's just the app. You don't need the desktop way of streaming, but you can stream these to a Chromebook or something else. But the point was, they had up on the stage a major BPO saying that since the pandemic, we've been using this technology and we're expanding into 40 countries to do contact center for all kinds of customers. So it's like all these little things are kind of coming together. And I was just so impressed with the way these pieces are just clicking. And it's just, I think, a very comprehensive story.
I actually think it's kind of fascinating, too, how AWS has their own product in so many areas, and yet they host so many of their competitors on their platform. Like up on stage, Adam, mentioned, I think he gave Vonage and Genesis a shout out. He also had Verint and TalkDesk on the slide. In fact, TalkDesk just became part of the partner page. So congratulations.
And TalkDesk was exhibiting there.
Yeah, they were. I've thought about this, and I think it actually stimulates innovation. Knowing Amazon's in the market makes you sharpen your game and make sure you continue to drive innovation, in your area better than they do. And I think it's good for everybody when this happens. And, we talk a lot about co-opetition, and AWS seems to have really mastered this. The fact that they can let their competitors run on their platform, their own salespeople will sell competitive products as well as their own, and everybody seems pretty happy about it. So it's a pretty fascinating model for them. I do want to say that I think the most notable announcement that came out of there to me was their private 5G. I think this is something I've been covering for a while. The only real private 5G company out there today is Solona Networks. It's a little private company, and they do it very much with the do-it-yourself kit. You deploy your own access points, 5G access points. You deploy your own controller. With AWS, you do it through a point-and-click through the console, and they ship you everything. And one of the interesting aspects of it is they've gone to a utilization-based model or a consumption-based model, right? So you think of traditional 5G services that you get from a telco, they're going to charge you flat fees or whatever. In this, you just pay for what you use. So you can provision as many IoT devices as you want, and you just, and so a lot of those IoT devices, you generate very little bandwidth, so nobody wants to pay that monthly fee. And so I think it's an interesting signal that I think private 5G is real. It's going to, I think, have a disruptive effect on networks. You'll see it done in conjunction with Wi-Fi. And to me, the fact that AWS has jumped into this signals that we're about to see some acceleration here.
I think it's a very valid point, and we're kind of used to treating cellular kind of as a separate thing from enterprise communications. But you're absolutely right. And if you look at what else has happened in the industry, when Microsoft acquired Metaswitch, I think of Metaswitch as a UC or UCaaS company, UCaaS platform, but Microsoft stated very clearly they're acquiring that technology for its 5G practice that it's building. And then also we had just recently Ericsson, a 5G infrastructure company, acquire Vonage and getting into enterprise CPaaS and possibly enterprise UCaaS and CCaaS as well. So it's all coming, and 5G is definitely a very different animal than 4G. Software-defined, cloud-delivered communications. This intersection is going to get bigger.
Yeah.
But let's move on to. Oh, do you have another thought?
Yeah, I was just going to say I did see a McKinsey study to talk just to follow up on your point that said 98% of C-level IT people they surveyed said they would use both Wi-Fi and 5G. So it's coming to a business near you. Well, that puts a wrap on reInvent, and I thought it was great to see you there, Dave. Now, the week did start off with some interesting news. 8x8 announced they bought Fuze, and I think we both know that Fuze has been up for sale for a while. I've talked to some companies that have done their due diligence, and they walked away from it. I think Fuze got an outstanding deal here. The deal was quoted to be $250 million, but that's half cash, half stock. which is outstanding for a company that raised almost $500 million in funding. So I don't think the investors, the employees, can be too happy with that. But I think if I know the stock dropped on the day of the announcement, I don't think Wall Street fully understand it because I think there's a lot of opportunity for 8x8. Dave, what do you think of that?
Well, as Microsoft and Ring Central and we just talked about Amazon in the contact center space, as some of these companies are growing, it's putting a lot of pressure in the middle. Actually, I would say the smaller businesses have their own little niche where they can really kind of tailor their value prop, but the middle is getting a little pressured. And as consolidation goes, I'm actually pretty pleased with this one. I think that the companies are fairly complementary. Similar tech stacks, similar go-to-market, similar customers size. Although Fuze has larger customers, which is what 8x8's really been needing. So I like that. Dave Sipes came into I don't remember when he started, but 6 months ago, whatever, as the CEO of 8x8, and he promised 20% growth, and I guess he just did it. So he's in one fell swoop. We're going to get 20% growth at 8x8. It's not just the revenue and the customers, it's the engineering talent, which is also really important. And so it's a big acqui-hire. And I'm actually pretty pleased with this. I think there's been some questions about the price, and some people say that anyone would have bought them for that price, but I don't think that's true. And I don't think there would have been as many good fits as this. And so I'm actually quite pleased with the way this is playing out. It has been a long road for Fuze. Yeah. I've been covering them. I mean, you're in Boston, so I've been covering them since they were thinking phones. They were like one of the first ones in the Magic Quadrant, and I think the leaders. They've had an incredible ride. They've done some incredible stuff, but the market is getting a little more difficult.
The engineering aspect you talked about too, Dave, is notable because I've talked to 8x8 about this. They're trying to hire people, and all companies are trying to hire. Right? There's a real war on talent going out there, and so if you think about what it would have cost 8x8 to do customer acquisition and try and steal Fuze's customers, and then go try and hire 250 R&D people, I think that would have cost them more than what they paid. So from that aspect alone, I think the deal was worth it.
Well, a deal has, of course, some time to go until it closes. Yeah. It was just announced. We got a briefing from 8x8, but a lot of the questions they couldn't answer yet. That's the way things are early in a deal like this. But I think it's good. I'm actually kind of pleased with it. And to your point, I think Fuze has been looking for this for a while. So nice to have the story that story of acquisition for Fuze come to an end.
Yeah. So I think it's a wrap on week 48. Dave, we got 4 weeks left in the year. So lots of. I know there's a couple more events for us coming up, and that'll be a wrap.
I sure hope things slow down, Zia. This is getting crazy, but very good. Thank you so much.
Thanks.